Welcome back to The Cabin Podcast. I'm Andrea Belke.
And I'm Megan Christian.
The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Something Special from Wisconsin. And today I'm super excited because we are diving into music in Wisconsin. So we're going to cover some iconic music venues. We're going to talk about famous musicians from Wisconsin. And we're going to talk to a band that is from here. They play all over the state. And when I kind of tossed around this topic, Megan was like, I have a band.
Oh, I have a band. And let me tell you all, you're going to be so excited. We have Cherry Pie in the podcast today. Welcome you both.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Cherry Pie has over 24 years of experience, and they're playing the biggest hair band hits and ballads of the 80s, a few anthems outside of that. But yeah, today we have Frankie Trash in the podcast and
Guilty.
Gonzalez. So welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, I got to say, Frankie Trash. How does someone get a name like that?
Well, yeah, that came back in the 90s when I was in high school. We were doing our glam band and everybody needed to come up with a cool name. And so, yeah, they gave me Frankie Trash.
And it stuck. It
Yeah.
stuck with you.
I also got to point out, if you're just listening, you're really missing out on Frankie Trash's amazing beard.
Oh,
You got a
my
bunch
gosh.
of...
Don't stop there. There's other things.
No, it's great. There's a lot of rubber bands kind of holding it in place. It is a 10 out of 10 beard.
Oh, thanks. It's it's gone through different lengths over the years because one of our cats, as I would sleep at night, loved eating these. So every now and then I would wake up and it would be about half this because she'd chew this off and it would take all the hair under it.
The beard is not a toy. Oh my God, that's awesome.
And then Andy Gonzalez, is there do you have a nickname or it's just your name?
I grew up with the nickname Gonzo, but
There we go.
there's not too many people. Although when we were playing at Utica the other night, I heard a whole bunch of people that know me as Gonzo chanting that.
That's
So
awesome.
it's a little odd to hear.
There was
that.
nobody chanting for him.
Oh, not usually. Not usually.
Yeah. Well, I do got to point out, you have a guitarist, Dave Zettel, who's not here, and then a bass player, Bob Welsh, which I actually went to school with his daughter. So it's really just Wisconsin, small town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just to reintroduce them, Frankie Trash is our drummer and Andy Gonzo is the lead singer. So
Correct.
Well, we're
There we
stoked to
go.
have you guys.
We're excited to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So you guys got to tell us a little bit about how this band started because you're pretty iconic in Wisconsin, very well known. Give us a story.
We're in year 26.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Our guitar player Dave started the band back in 1999, and here we are.
Had a different name though.
Yeah, it was Hit Squad for 1 year, and then got changed to Cherry Pie.
How'd you come up with the name Cherry Pie?
We didn't. From my understanding, wasn't it a promoter that was like, I can't book Hit Squad. Why don't you go with Cherry Pie?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how that happened.
Is it after the song Cherry Pie?
Yeah, I mean, there's a play on the word there with that, and in fact, the Warrant song "Cherry Pie" and now the video that all plays before the curtain drops, and our crowds have become accustomed to when they hear that, they know it's about to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you guys quite a few times, primarily at Harley-Davidson Homecoming in Oconomowoc. But tell us about your tour right now. You're on your Rock Your Face Off tour. Tell us about some of the different stops you're making, what you're doing on tour, what you have available for people who are coming to see you.
I'm the wrong person to ask about where we've been. We just finished 4 days yesterday,
Wow.
and people literally, when we got off stage, were like, "Oh, where else were you guys at this weekend?" And it's all such a blur.
Oh, yeah. No, I
So
feel
I'm
the same
struggling
way.
to try to come up with the name of the cities that we were in. I mentioned Utica, but
No, I get that. Sometimes I feel like I have a mush brain. Like you'll say, like I'm just forward thinking, like don't ask me where I've been or what I've done. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember some of the places you stopped at, Frankie Trash?
Let's see. We started in Shawano, and then we went to Ripon, then Utica, and we
Utica.
finished up last night in Rockford, Illinois.
Illinois.
Which turned out to be a really fun gig.
That's
Like,
surprising for
they
the
ended up-
Illinoisans.
Well, it was Festa Italia,
Oh.
and that was our first time being there. And we're the last band closing out their entire weekend's festivities. They actually asked us to continue playing
Wow, that's awesome.
beyond what we'd been asked to do originally. So, which
Yeah.
we accommodated. That was a lot of fun.
What's your favorite part about being on tour?
Getting to hang with these guys
Pretty much, yeah.
every day, all the time.
We play about 100 shows a year, and and I say these things to the crowd, when we're up there, because I never want to assume that people have seen us before. If there's new people out there, I just want to kind of know. But we cram 50 of those from sometime around late May till sometime in September, which is a lot, so there's some weeks where we're playing 3 or 4 shows like we just did.
Well, I'm always kind of curious when bands first start out, because right now, in Wisconsin, you're a very notable 80s cover band. I feel like most people have heard of Cherry Pie. When I ask people about it, people are like, oh yeah, I know that band. I've seen that band. But I'm kind of curious, when you first started, right? And no one knew of you. What was that experience like? Were you kind of begging your friends to come out and watch? How did that first start, and then how did it grow?
Yeah, Andy, why don't you answer that one?
Well, I stepped into this thing after it was already running for 17 years. So
You're like, it's been great.
well, and I've been blessed to be a part of some relatively successful projects here in Wisconsin. It was, over the top for me to join Cherry Pie. I often joke with the band that there was a place called the Dry Bean in Madison, and I'd go there. I did country music back in the day when I was in my early 20s, and we'd go and hang up our little 8.5 by 11. Hey, we're going to be here on this day, and then there were these gigantic Cherry Pie posters with all these guys with teased up hair and makeup. And I used to think, what is that? I actually never, and in fact, Amanda was there. It was the night at the Badger Bowl. And I got to come out and see them because they had asked me to fill in. That was a date in September, I think, of 2015.
Yeah.
So it was just prior to that I actually got the chance to see what the band was all about. But, when you're in a band, you don't really have a lot of time to go out and see other music. Mm-hmm. And then, between that and job and family, it's like, if you don't have a music thing going on, you're not going to a music thing. So.
Yeah. Frankie, what do you remember about those early days with the band?
Well, I came in about 6 years after the band started, and it's been fun to see how the band has grown over the years. Like our show, it was just more and more special effects, and you see the crowds get bigger, and then you see faces come and go. Like someone will be following the band for a few years, and then they kind of go away, and all of a sudden you have this new fresh crowd. And yeah, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
I bet you have fans that have been with you since you started, right?
Yeah, there's people that have literally been there for 26 years.
When you start singing those hits, what are your favorite songs to sing that really gets the crowd going?
We have our sets designed. You've got to have some dynamic and flow to the night. And there's an area where, what are we doing? We're doing Def Leppard, into Journey, into Bon Jovi. So songs like "Living on a Prayer," "Don't Stop Believing."
Pour some sugar.
Pour some sugar on me.
Pour some sugar on me is my favorite.
Yeah, and the coolest thing about that is that that's not just something where there's a certain age group that knows that stuff. Those were commercial success hits, and they've been part of movies and TV and commercials, and even the little kids, 7, 8 years old, are singing that stuff.
I think that's what's been interesting over the years is our crowd isn't the people that grew up, are not getting any younger. So, as people get older, some of those people fall off for coming to shows. So then, you're banking on a younger generation that starts to come out, and it has to be that 80s material that's still on the radio because they don't know some of the deeper cuts, So everything we play is still stuff that you hear on the radio today, and yeah, great.
Except it's on the oldies.
How did you guys get started in music? I'm kind of curious because some people are like, I've been doing it my whole life, but other people are like, I was singing in the car one day and my grandma told me I was good, so then I just kept going. So what's your story?
You didn't start off playing the drums, did you?
Well, here's the deal with that. So I really wanted to play drums. This was like in 5th grade. So I told my parents, hey, I want to play drums. So they got me a snare drum. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't that much fun. So I played snare drum for like 5 months. And I'm like, nah, I didn't want this. So then 6th grade, I think I played baritone for like a year. And then when I got in 7th grade, I want a drum set. So my brother and my parents didn't want to get one. We went around to all these pawn shops and used music stores and just bought pieces, the cheapest we could find, to piece together a full drum set. And then we got back home, we contact papered it so it'd all be one color. And I think I had like 3 air toms that were all the same size, 2 bass drums, and then a floor tom, and a couple, elementary cymbals, and I had a drum set.
That's
so I
cool
really
that
owe
you
it to
built your
my
own.
brother, like helping me, get that going.
Yeah. What about you?
I grew up singing at the church. I went to Abundant Life Christian School here in town. And I don't know, I was about 10 when, one of the music teachers just kind of noticed like, hey, this kid's either louder than everybody else or, he can kind of carry a tune. So my folks invested, time and money into voice lessons and a little bit of time. I also played baritone. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be
Wow.
better if we picked that instrument up
I'd
today?
be horrible right now. actually. It's been a long
Maybe you
time.
can start a new band just full of baritones.
Nah, I don't think that'd go over. So yeah, I've been singing for a long time, and in the early days, it was so interesting because I do think about this stuff now, right? I think there's the fundamentals of wherever any of us start, and even the crowd interaction. Obviously, when you're 10 or 11, and it was a big church, it was a big school programs and whatnot, and there's 500 to 1,000 people out there, so the nerves thing, that went away pretty early, and I felt pretty comfortable.
So you don't really get nervous anymore then?
No, the only times I have, and I don't, it's funny because since I joined Cherry Pie, and my voice is really hoarse right now, just 4 days of singing.
He's blaming his deep voice right now on singing. He's just trying to sound sexy
Yeah.
on camera.
I was going to say, it's not a bad speaking voice, though.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out today.
What happens on tour, since you have so many shows, do you ever lose your voice, and how do you recover from that?
I have. I mean, I've gotten pretty lucky with Cherry Pie. In September, it'll be going into the 9th year. And the one thing I will tell you is, because the band had, there was a couple different players at the time when I joined. And so I had these kind of, call them interviews, conversations with people. And I remember the bass player, Case, at the time was like, you've got to know what you're getting into, because it's such a demanding, schedule and taxing on the vocals. These guys are killing it, playing guitar and drums and everything else. If I lose this, then I'm done. So there's a little bit of technique. There's a lot of lemon tea and honey and trying to rest it, and lots of water.
Yeah.
So, and 4 days at age 51 that's about the most I can do.
Yeah.
So
Do you ever do throat coat?
I do. I love throat coat.
You do? I used to have to do that when I was like competitively singing in high school, and that was the worst thing ever. I did not look forward to it at all. And my vocal director was like, you gotta drink it. You gotta drink it.
It's an acquired taste, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
black licorice.
I don't mind it. It does actually help.
It does.
So I don't know. I mean, a lot of, what we do, like I said, that curtain drops, and there's, it's not nerves, but there's adrenaline that's behind that, especially when you do have a larger crowd, or the crowd is with you, I guess, regardless of the size, but that helps to push you through.
do you have a pre-show ritual? Is there a, get together, say a few words? Is there a little dance you do? Is there something you've established or not really?
I think it's, really just fist bumps at this point. Nobody drinks in the band. We're a dry band.
Other than the fist bumps, like it doesn't feel right unless there's some playful banter and some, digging on each other before we start.
Well, we were talking about just Wisconsin fans and how much you appreciate them. You both are from Wisconsin, right? Born in Wisconsin. Do you have memories of growing up in Wisconsin and seeing live music?
My brother taking me to concerts like at Alpine, going to see like, Motley Crue and Whitesnake, and it's great times.
Yeah, absolutely.
My story's not that cool. I didn't get to see any of those bands.
Well, that's because you're not good.
Wow. See, that's what I'm talking about now.
There's a lot of sarcasm in this band, and when there isn't, like, okay, what's off today?
Yeah, so much. Again, growing up at the Christian school, it was MGT at the time, which is now it's a city church. We actually used to have these events. They were in most of them were in Token Creek Park, and then eventually got moved to the Dane County Coliseum. And so it was interesting because I was reading through some of the stuff that you were going to talk to us about. And I haven't thought about, it was an event called Resurrection. And, it was the big tents. And again, this was when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. It was the big events. It was a lot of the top contemporary Christian artists at the time, Michael W. Smith, Amy Grant, and just getting a chance to, be at those. And I look back on it now and it's like, yes, I didn't get to see Motley Crue or, Def Leppard, but there was some exposure there. So I was, I guess soaking some of that in, and those left some lasting impressions on me for sure.
I'm curious if you guys have a most memorable show. Doesn't have to be in Wisconsin, but just in general. One that you're like, wow, that was insane.
There's one that comes to mind, but I don't want to say why.
What?
It was actually...
we can edit it out if it's bad.
There was a show I played with you guys. It was like my second fill-in. And It was just like a biker rally event.
Oh.
He knows what I'm talking about. And let's just say, so they had some contests that were going on
Okay.
for the ladies. And
Like a wet t-shirt?
well, sure.
Okay. No, that's putting it tame.
It wound up being a lot more than that.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, and I hadn't been around that. It was pretty crazy stuff. So
that one's stuck in the brain.
Yeah, that one will live with me for a long time. Other than that, there's a few that stand out in my mind with the pie because, there's been some crowds that, and I had, some experience with, really large crowds, but there's been some crowds where I can't see the end of where people are at because that's how far out they are. Memorable. It's always memorable. Cherry Pie has, I think, set itself apart with its level of production. And, you're doing what you can. Sometimes we're on bigger stages. We're not a national act, but we really try to deliver people so that in that 2-3 hours, whatever it is that they're with us, you take them somewhere else and you give them that sensation. That's what that's an escape for a lot of people. So
yeah.
Frankie, do you have a memorable show or city that you played in?
And one of the memorable things is on a way home from a gig, and it was Amanda, Dave, and I, and we're driving down the freeway, and all of a sudden, like, I see sparks shooting out, like, from my rearview mirror, and instantly pull over. And so we thought, at first we just blew out a tire. And then upon further review, we had busted our axle. And
oh no.
It's like after a couple days, and we're just on this, roadside, and so we called a state trooper. I think it was State Trooper Dave that came over. So we had 2 Daves on the scene, and ended up, getting a towing company. I think it was Bill's, and they came, and literally we couldn't drive the trailer. It was just, the back was annihilated. So watching this thing like go up on a flatbed and then having to let it sit in the shop, and then Dave and I went back to Waukesha, and then they had to fix the trailer, and yeah, we had to go back and get our gear, and
just crazy stuff like
but
that.
like
yeah.
when you're going down the freeway, all of a sudden you see like fireworks coming out of the side of the back of your truck. And it's like, holy crap.
The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association, and this week we are featuring Wood County. Nestled in the heart of central Wisconsin, Wood County was founded in 1856 and named after Joseph Wood, a prominent local politician and early settler. Today it is home to vibrant communities like Wisconsin Rapids and Marshfield, where local pride runs deep and adventure is always around the corner. If you are a history buff, step back in time at the South Wood County Historical Museum or tour the very elegant Alexander House in Port Edwards. The Alexander House is a center for art and history and is a combination of art gallery with frequently changing displays, as well as being a historical museum teaching about local lumbering and papermaking. You can also get into nature in Wood County by checking out Powers Bluff County Park, a sacred Native American site with panoramic views, or paddle down the Wisconsin River for a peaceful day on the water. For more information, go to wicounties.org.
An incredible variety of Wisconsin-made products await. At Something Special from Wisconsin, you can discover a plethora of local goods created on Wisconsin soil. Featuring a wide range of product categories that cater to every taste and interest, this program has something just for you. Start your search and sort alphabetically. Here are a few favorites. Artisan goods. Discover beautifully handcrafted items made by talented local artisans. From cutting boards and pottery to textiles and candles, each piece tells a story of creativity and craftsmanship. Beverages. Quench your thirst with locally crafted beers, wines, and spirits. The beverage producers are passionate about creating unique flavors that reflect the essence of Wisconsin. Cheese and dairy. Indulge in Wisconsin's world-famous cheeses, from squeaky curds to rich aged varieties. Member dairy producers are committed to quality and tradition, ensuring every bite is a true taste of Wisconsin. Gifts and home goods. Looking for the perfect gift? Explore the selection of unique home goods and gifts that capture the spirit of Wisconsin. These products make thoughtful presents for any occasion. Snack foods and sweets. Satisfy your cravings with an array of delicious snacks. From gourmet popcorn and artisan chocolates to savory snack mixes, there's something to please every palate. Browse the member directory at somethingspecialwi.com today to see all the diverse product categories.
All right, well, we do want to kind of cover some iconic music venues in Wisconsin.
Yes.
So whether or not you've played there, I'm sure some of these you've been to. You first mentioned Alpine Valley.
Yeah.
That's such a big one.
I remember when we played there. I'm just kidding.
But that was very influential for you.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up and getting to go there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just seeing like the bands that you love, in the moment, and the production that they have, and
yeah.
The massive crowds,
Yeah.
sober people and people falling over, drunk.
Right. Here's some history on Alpine Valley. So it opened in 1977, and it was once the largest amphitheater in the United States, which I did not know until I was researching this. It's a wooden pavilion, large lawn. That's kind of what it's known for, is kind of just that cool, vibey. I almost think it's kind of a folky feel when you're there. When I think of Alpine Valley, I always think of when Noah Kahn was there, and I think it kind of re-blew up the amphitheater. For sure. But big names there: Grateful Dead, Rolling Stones. Grateful Dead actually played there 20 times between 1980 and 1989, which is crazy.
And I missed every one of them.
That's insane. And then I'm curious if you went to this actually, but they hosted Pearl Jam's 20th anniversary festival in 2011.
I wasn't at that one.
But you saw Motley Crue there?
Yeah, I saw Motley
awesome.
Crue on the Girls tour, where Tommy had the drum set that was going upside down. Like, it was really
Dang.
badass.
Yeah.
Can I say ass on the air?
Yeah, you can. You can say badass.
Yeah. Another one that is pretty iconic is the Rave. Have you guys ever been there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
many a times.
What are your thoughts on
Have I
it?
been there?
You're too diet rock
I don't
to be
think.
there.
Did he just call you Diet Rock?
Oh, all the time. That's fine. That's fine.
I just remember when I was in high school, everyone talked about the rave. I feel like you probably have to be. Do you have to be 21 to get in? Some people were sneaking in.
18.
Oh, okay,
18, I
okay.
think. Yep.
But I just remember everyone was talking about it, and then I just missed the the mark. Like I never went there because then I moved away. I was in New York for a while, and now it's kind of on my bucket list to go to the rave.
Yeah, so I have quite a bit of like information on this one, but it's so interesting. So it was built in 1927 as the Milwaukee home of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. So the person who built it was actually a student of Frank Lloyd Wright, which is crazy. I keep just finding more buildings from Frank Lloyd Wright disciples. But then in 1955, it became the national headquarters for the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. Then it kind of transformed, had this big ballroom and everything. But I do want to point out it had a gym, it had a swimming pool, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Like it was designed to be kind of a club.
It was like a YMCA kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is all at the rave?
This is all at the rave.
No, the history of the rave is fascinating.
It's insane. Yeah. So then January 23rd, 1959, Buddy Holly, J.P. Richardson, Richie Valens, Dion and the Belmonts, and Frankie Sardo played their first show. It was $1.50 admission. So think about that for starters. But then 11 days later, Holly, Richardson, and Valens died in a plane crash. So that kind of led to the day the music died in American Pie, which crazy that this journey kind of started at the rave, first of all. So the rave is kind of known to be very historic, haunted for sure. But yeah, concerts began again there in 1991, now has 6 stages and hosts 250 plus concerts each year. And now I want to talk about the pool, because everyone who plays at the rave gets to sign the pool, not in the pool, but around the pool. You can only sign in the swimming pool if you've sold out a show.
I think you have to sell out 3 shows to sign inside.
3, you're right. It's 3 because Mac Miller, Steve Aoki, they've both done it. But the rave pool's said to be pretty haunted. So it's rumored that a little girl drowned there once upon a time. So some people hear splashes and screams, but the pool's empty. So there's no way that you'd be hearing water in there. Kind of crazy. But yeah, the one thing that I think is really cool is that Mac Miller passed away not too long ago. He sold out 3 shows there, signed inside the pool, and he wrote, "I am Mac Miller. I once lived. Now I am dead. My soul remains here. Enjoy. P.S. I sold this place out 3 times."
Wow.
I'm learning a lot here.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I had no idea.
I think it's insane that he's like, my soul lives here at the rave.
and then he died shortly after that.
Shortly
and then
after.
he was actually scheduled to play the rave for his 5th time, but he couldn't do that concert
Right.
because he had passed. But Mac Miller signed the pool there. There's not that many artists who have sold the
I
rave
think there's
out.
10
Yep.
as of a couple years ago.
And so it's fascinating. It's also, the rave is located right across from the Ambassador, which is where Jeffrey Dahmer killed people. So that's a creepy
His
thing.
first victim.
Way to slide that one.
No, I
in there.
know. I'm telling
Wow.
you, I
got
recently this got dark really fast. But no, the rave is very haunted, and it's this historical building with a lot of history. It's very eerie. I didn't know about any of this until recently when I was doing research for this very podcast.
Yeah.
And so now I am just really fascinated by that history.
And you can also do tours at the rave, even when there's not concerts happening. And they do haunted tours. They do Christmas tours where you can see the ballroom empty and everything. And apparently it's just like very eerie. Every musician who plays there, Steve Aoki in specific, he has a video on YouTube that I was watching. And he's like, every time I come here, I think it gets a little creepier. So
Wow.
Did you guys know any of this?
No.
No idea.
my heart's kind of like beating thinking about it. I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah. So the rave is definitely an iconic music venue in Wisconsin. And then I just have one more, which is Riverside Theater. Opened in 1928 as part of the Empire Building. It had vaudeville acts and movies. Has that Spanish Renaissance architecture, and it survived through the Great Depression through a ton of funding. People really wanted to keep it alive. So that's one of the notable buildings there. But then it was revived as a music venue in the 1970s, and now they do comedy, music, a bunch of other stuff. Really neat building. I was there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You see how focused she is? Like, pretend we're in between songs. And when you start going off on a whole lot of nothing, if you just had a little card with cherry pie in the back, you could be like, Thanks for coming out tonight. Hey, we have merch.
Frank,
Okay.
you've tried that.
I gotta get my facts straight. Is the thing. I can't have people coming for me if I say
Yeah,
something
the thing
wrong.
is, if we get anything wrong on this podcast, they let us know.
They'll
So we
just
try to
slaughter
be,
you.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
they really do.
They do.
I will point out one other iconic venue, Cactus Club in Milwaukee. This one, I've been to it. It's a smaller venue, pretty small, but it's interesting because it was once a tavern that housed an Italian anarchist book club and prohibition parties. Cool. And there's actually tunnels underground. I think they've closed them now, but there were tunnels that would kind of connect to houses nearby in the prohibition days. So that's fascinating.
Interesting.
Now it's this kind of community music venue, and a lot of bands are playing there, and that's really fun. So there's some deep history with the music venues in Wisconsin, which I
Yeah.
think is fascinating.
Where is that in Milwaukee? What's
That's
that?
in Bayview.
Okay.
Baby.
Yeah.
You know, it's the one thing I think is interesting. I'm the Madison guy, so the vast majority of my music career has been centered around Dane County and maybe a little west of here. It wasn't until I started playing with Cherry Pie that I was, playing these venues in Milwaukee and all over the state. But it's interesting because you're talking about these places that have a really long history. And I will say that sadly, a lot of the venues that he and I have played over time, both in the Milwaukee area as well as here in especially Madison, because it's so diverse and there's a lot of culture. So, but a lot of those places they're gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's very sad,
You've brought that up at shows how you see more venues go away than more music venues open.
There used to be 8 or 9 of them, just here inside of Madison and the surrounding communities, and we're down to 1 or 2.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite venue you've been to in Madison?
I gotta kind of defer back to the Dry Bean, back in the day. It's kind of where I got my start in doing things. I played a lot of events there. I remember playing, if you had New Year's Eve and you were at the Dry Bean, it was going to be, no room for people to walk around. You'd have a line out the door till 11 o'clock at night, people trying to get in. Places like the Badger Bowl too. I mean, Dry Bean is, kind of gone through a few iterations.
What
of
is
other
it?
things.
What does it look like? I've never been.
You've never been to the
Yeah.
Dry Bean? I don't know. How many square feet do you think that place is?
Oh, I don't know.
How many
About
people does it hold?
3,500. Probably, I think it's 600,
Okay.
Okay.
something to that effect. But they had a big stage. They used to have a big wooden dance floor. This is back when I was doing the country thing, and line dancing was real popular.
Oh, sure.
Or the country dancing, which blows my mind because that was in the mid 90s. And now all of a sudden country's popular again.
Line
And-
dances are more popular than ever now.
Yeah. And it's just, it's crazy to see the cycle of that come around.
You missed your mock, mate.
Maybe you can get back into some country.
Yeah.
No.
Do you guys have any musicians that you, in your own lives, kind of pull influence from or that you're really listening to right now?
Do you listen to drummers?
I
You
I
could.
don't. I think I'm around
Who's
music
your-
so
who's
much
your-
like when I'm driving. I
Who's
just
your
like
favorite?
the silence.
Who's your favorite drummer besides yourself?
Wow. Back in the 80s when I was, getting into music, I liked all the animated drummers. So I liked Tommy Lee, Ricky Rocket from Poison, Vic Fox, the flashy guys.
Yeah.
Who did you like, Andy?
For drummers,
Yeah.
I'm going to point to a Madison icon. Clyde Stubblefield is somebody who my dad used to take me out. This is before I was 21. We would go to the Harmony. There was a few different bars that were close to that area. And, he played with James Brown. I mean, it's just like you don't get any more iconic than
Right.
that, in my opinion. The funky drummer. What is he? The most emulated drummer in history?
I don't know. I'm a
Oh,
bad musician.
Oh,
When he's
okay.
from Madison area, or he was playing in Madison?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, and he passed away several years ago, but what an influence. And I'll tell you, seeing local musicians like that who've been on the big stages before, the guy always had a smile on his face, was always so kind to everyone. And I think, some of those interactions early on when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, left some impressions. And now that I'm getting a chance to do that, it really comes to, we play music, but it's all about entertainment. So, people are there. That's why we try to deliver on and hit so many of the senses, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just audio, it's, the visual stuff, not just with our, monitors that we use and TV screens and cool videos and things that he dials up, but, the rest of the special effects as well.
Well, speaking of some local musicians, we'll just run down a few of them and let me know if you are influenced by them or anything. But some famous musicians from Wisconsin, you have Steve Miller from the Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle, Abracadabra. He's from Milwaukee. He's actually the godson of Les Paul. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and he invented the electric guitar.
Yeah,
so.
Les Paul. So that's cool. I since I was doing research for this, I've just been listening to tons of Steve Miller. Yeah. But he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He sings, the Joker, I'm a Joker. Yeah. I'm a smoker. I'm a midnight
We tie that
toker.
into one of our songs.
Oh, you
Nice.
do?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
That's awesome. Then, of course, you have Bon Iver from Eau Claire. And he famously wrote his album For Emma forever ago in a Wisconsin hunting cabin.
Yep.
And he always comes back to Wisconsin. He's kind of been through wanting to be in the public eye, then not. And he always escapes to Wisconsin and the Eau Claire area.
I think it's awesome how he's just this small town guy, but has collaborated with Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, huge names. And he still just kind of keeps quiet. I love it.
Do you guys remember the Violent Femmes being really popular in the 80s?
Is that da-da-da-da-da-da?
That's
Yeah,
correct,
yes.
Andrew.
All right, I've played that song. Yes.
Yeah, because from what I understood reading, it seems like they got their start busking in Madison. Yeah, and the Violent Femmes, they've influenced a lot of people, but Blister in the Sun.
Yep.
Gone, Daddy, Gone.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of revolutionized the new wave scene with stripped down acoustic sound, kind of combining punk's edginess with the folk sensitivity. So they were a cult classic in the 80s. And when I went to see the Killers this year at Summerfest, they immediately shouted out the Violent Femmes, saying that they were really heavily influenced by them.
I love that. One that I have is Butch Vig from Garbage. He's from Viroqua, which we were just talking about not too long ago, but he produced Nirvana's Nevermind and co-founded the band Garbage, which is really interesting.
Liberace,
Interesting one.
you had a reaction there.
Oh, when you say a name that big, I felt like I had to make some kind of face.
No, but he, born in 1919 in West Dallas, a pianist, just this over-the-top showman.
Yeah.
And he's really interesting because he kind of made this pop classical music a thing. So he combined classical music with pop, and he, was just, I think at the time, the highest paid entertainer in the United States.
Had
I think
to
so.
be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
He's major.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a couple others. You'll like this. So the Go-Go's, all-female band. Jane Weedland was born in Oconomowoc.
Oh, there we go. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, and so she ended up forming the band. She's one of the founders, formed it in LA, but has roots in Wisconsin. And recently, there was an article about her coming back to Madison and kind of finding her, kind of starting a home here, buying a house in Maple Bluff.
I love that.
Andy, sing We Got the Beat for everybody.
I'm going to pass on that.
And then we got a big drummer, Viola Smith, one of the first female professional drummers in the world. She was from Mount Calvary, and she was the cover of Billboard magazine on Ed Sullivan 5 times, played Harry Truman's inauguration, original Broadway production of Cabaret. Al Jarreau, he won 7 Grammys. He was, I think...
he was from Wisconsin?
Yes. Al Jarreau, born 1940 in Milwaukee, 7 Grammys, nominated 19 other times. And so he got these 7 Grammys over 4 decades. He is just iconic.
One more musician who is very obviously not from Wisconsin, but always says how much he loves Green Bay, Harry Styles.
Oh, really?
Yep, he is a huge Packers fan, and one of his very best friends is from Appleton, and he loves the Green Bay area. He actually has a Packers tattoo on the back of his arm.
Where's he from?
London. Somewhere
London?
out
From
there.
London?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, that's...
He was in One Direction.
Yeah,
So-
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I did
that's
not
a
know
little
that.
fun fact for you. Harry Styles is a Packers fan.
Wow.
Harry Styles loves Wisconsin. Yep.
Didn't know
Fun
that.
fact for you.
I don't.
Use your words.
One Direction. What songs did they have?
Oh no. That's what makes you beautiful.
Oh, okay. I've
Yeah.
heard that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably one of the most popular
The
ones.
boy bands that were popular back when he and I were getting out of high school, because that was, did you graduate in 92?
3.
93? All right. You know, you had certainly Boys to Men, and they
Yeah.
kind of, you know, led the charge. And then you had all these little 4 and 5 guy groups.
Yep.
And then NSYNC came along,
Yeah.
98 Degrees. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I've actually seen the Backstreet Boys live, and that is one of my greatest accomplishments.
Was it when they were young, or was it when
No,
they're
it was
old?
probably 3 years ago.
Okay, all right.
That is not one of your greatest accomplishments.
Okay, I think it's pretty cool though, because who knows if they're. I don't even think they're doing live performances anymore, because one of them had
Yeah.
a scandal.
They're
Yeah.
just in commercials now.
Yeah.
And they're all white outfits. That's what they were wearing when I saw them.
Well, I'm curious, kind of segueing back to you guys, like if you had advice for somebody that wants to be in a band in Wisconsin and play as much as you do, what are some pieces of advice you would give them?
I would say find people that you really want to be around with a lot. Like, we don't have the best singer, but I like being around Andy a lot. See how I slid that in there?
Yeah, it's,
I think that's really important, like finding that right chemistry. Because again, like, you know, having good juju, mojo within the band, you know, that's really important, I think, to longevity and just having a good time along the way.
I've played in, I think, 8 different bands over time. And, you know, I'll agree. I think if it's one thing if you've got someone who's wants to start right from scratch, because we get people that come up to us all the time. Hey, I'm really wanting to get to do this. Like, how do you get started? Well, you don't have enough time to tell them, you know, everything that they would need to know. But, you know, like Frank said, it's the people that you're with. I thoroughly enjoy all of their company, and, you know, our road crew and the production crew, we all get along. I mean, there's no egos. Nobody has that. And, you know, I've always taken the approach of, you know, like, no one's job is more important than the next person. You know, I don't care if that's sound or lights or someone selling merch or singing or playing drums. Doesn't matter. As long as that all comes together and everybody's working towards one common goal. If you're going to play this much, boy, oh boy, be prepared. You know, I'm looking back now several years, Frank, a lot more than me in this band. And, you know, it's a huge commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. In fact, I remember one of the questions you guys asked me when I came on was, can you give us at least 5 years, you know? And I understand why, because it, you know, from the marketing standpoint, it's a change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you have a member change, or if you're doing something more drastic with different members in the band. So you just got to be ready for, you know, again, a strong commitment to each other, to the project, to the venues, and then the fans themselves.
What do you think your younger selves would think, that you're out here playing music as much as you do?
I think it's really cool to be able to make a living doing what you love, you know? I mean, I don't know that I thought when I was younger I wanted to, you know, be able to like support myself, but I don't know that that was going to be realistic. And then, you know, ended up quitting my real job like back in 2010 or 12. Like, I'm going to try doing music full time, and like, if it doesn't work, you know, go back to working a, you know, 8 to 5 job. And like 2 months in, I'm like, I should have done this years ago. Like,
Yeah.
So it's great to be able to do what you love.
Well, we're about out of time. Anything else? Any more jabs you want to take at each other? Get it out.
No, that's fine.
They're like, we'll be
That's
nice
fine.
for now.
We'll be civil.
Well, you have a couple upcoming shows. So this will be coming out, I believe, August 26th. So 2 days after this releases, Sheboygan County Fair. And then Stenny's, I'm going to come. Because
Oh, right
Stenny's
on.
is this like amazing bar downtown Milwaukee.
Wait,
They're actually,
really?
that's in Walker's Point, right? In Milwaukee. And it's their 40th anniversary of this bar. It's my favorite place to watch Packers games.
Sweet.
So they're having a big like street festival, and you guys are playing. I saw that.
Yeah.
So that's September 6th. So if you're in Milwaukee, check out Cherry Pie at Stenny's. Then you have a couple other shows, I think, coming up: Wisconsin Rapids, Green Bay.
Yeah, you probably have that. Andy, is that on your sheet?
For some reason, I know your schedule more than you do.
It's not, but you know what? That's not well. And I'm always the one that says like, well, don't ask me where we're going to be at.
Yeah, but it's an easy. We'll make sure we plug your upcoming shows and
and people can
description.
always find the schedule. We flash things up on the screens when folks are there, but you can tell them. Sometimes I encourage people to go out to Facebook and like the page for those that are still on Facebook. But there's Instagram. Is there any other avenues? The website. That's right. cherrypie.org.
Well, it was great having you guys on. Thank you so much for making the drive.
There was one more
one.
question I wanted to ask.
Ooh,
yeah.
what?
If you were, because do you both write music too, or not really?
I do. I don't.
Okay.
I just critique his.
Yeah. Okay. So if you were to write
Ooh.
a song about Wisconsin,
I prepared for this question.
Did you?
Yes.
what are some elements that need to be included?
Well, I believe you said 3 things that would be in the song, right?
Okay. Okay. So
It's like he paid attention.
all right,
Yeah.
if you're gonna write a song about Wisconsin, what are 3 things that
It's
need to
gonna
be in the
be
song?
drinking beer at your local bar, the church that's right across the street from that local bar, and Quick Trip.
Wow. Hey, you pretty much nailed it.
How would that song go? Like, give
Andy?
me a verse. Give me first
Come
line of a
on.
chorus.
You can do it.
No, I don't have
Just
Come on.
Well,
It's
you
not-
know what? I'll be honest. When I was reading through some of the questions and stuff, the first thing that dawned on me was, who's it? David Allan Coe wrote the Perfect Country and Western song.
Yeah.
Is that right? Mama and the dog getting run over and the train and the beer. When I have never written a song specifically with Wisconsin in mind, but yeah, I would have that and Quick Trip in it.
And Quick
So-
Trip, of course.
That's a part of our routine, like gassing up, donuts, snacks.
Yes, we eat lots of crap.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, we're gassing up. We're going to eat a lot of crap at the
Hey,
Quick Trip.
no, because we like quick trip, so we can't
you
really
can perform that one with us when you come out to the show.
Maybe specify junk food.
yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. I know you have a busy schedule, so we appreciate you taking
Thanks
the time
for
to come
having
out
us.
here.
I'll
Really
see you at
appreciate it.
Stenny's.
Yeah, I'm going to come with you, I think. But, all
And
right.
since I have your email, I'll add you guys to the Monday morning email list.
Oh,
Let
I
you know
can't
what you
wait.
did right today and what you did
Okay,
wrong.
all
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You're gonna
we'll,
love it.
We'll keep the cabin listeners looped in on that. All right, cabin listeners, that is all we have for you today. Come see us again next week. Bye.
Bye. Washington County strives to cultivate its rich heritage, vibrant economy, and attractive communities while maintaining a friendly, small-town atmosphere just 30 miles northwest of Milwaukee. Beautiful parks and trails throughout the county offer recreation and adventure for all seasons. Great events offer wonderful family entertainment, music on Main, Art Chalk Fest at the Museum of Wisconsin Art, and an authentic West Bend farmers market with over 100 vendors. Enjoy the award-winning golf courses, Holy Hill National Shrine, unique retail shops, and a wide variety of dining options. Visit Washington County to see what our great community has to offer. Learn more at www.washcowisco.gov.
The Cabin is also brought to you by the WCA Group Health Trust. Serving local governments and school districts, the WCA Group Health Trust partners closely with members to fulfill their employee health benefit obligations in a fiscally responsible manner. Learn more at wcaght.org. Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Andrea Belke and Megan Christian and produced by Andrea Belke. Audio engineering and video teasers by Nick Cardarella and Megan Christian, with social media by Megan Christian. Production support by Gavin McLean. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover MediaWorks. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com and don't forget to leave a review.